Hello traders, and welcome back to Explain the Charts. Today, May 29th, 2025, we're analyzing XAUUSD, gold, looking at both the recent news and the technical chart data to formulate a trading strategy. We'll cover important price levels, possible reversals, and what to look for if you're bullish or bearish on gold. First, let's catch up on some of the key headlines influencing the market. Recent news indicates a mixed bias for gold. The US dollar's recovery and a US federal court's ruling on Trump's tariff policies are putting downward pressure on XAUUSD. However, other reports suggest that gold continues to look at the upside, especially as the dollar falls. Remember that experts are weighing the possibility of gold hitting $4,000 per ounce this year, citing economic uncertainty and geopolitical instability as driving factors. News also mentions President Trump meeting with Federal Reserve Chair Powell to discuss interest rate cuts, a factor that could impact gold prices. Now let's switch to the one-day chart to analyze XAUUSD technically. Looking at the daily chart, we can observe recent volatility, with price swings influenced by the factors we just discussed. We saw a recent high near 33.50 before a dip. We can see some long consolidation periods followed by quick jumps. It appears we are nearing a consolidation period now. Zooming in on the last few weeks on the daily chart, we see a tug-of-war between buyers and sellers. Support seems to be forming around the 3,250 level. Resistance is around 3,350. A break above 33.50 would be a bullish sign, potentially opening the door for a move towards the $3,500 level and beyond, in line with some expert forecasts from earlier in the year. A break below 3,250 could signal further downside, with potential targets around the $3,200 level. Now let's check the hourly chart. On the 1-hour chart, we can see more granular price action. This chart helps identify shorter-term trends and potential entry/exit points. Notice the choppy price movements in the last few days, indicating some indecision in the market. We can see that XAUUSD has struggled to maintain any sustained upward momentum, indicating the dollar strength may be continuing. For a short-term bullish scenario, keep an eye on the 33.10 level. Breaking above this might lead to a test of 3,320, and so on. On the downside, failing to hold 3,270 could lead to further declines. The Hourly Relative Strength Index, RSI, is currently around the mid-40s, indicating more room for a possible further downward slide before it is oversold, which could indicate it may bounce back upwards. Now, let's look at the 15-minute chart for some short-term insight. With an even smaller time frame, the 15-minute chart can show more local highs and lows, which can be used for scalping and day trading. Zooming in further, we can see very local possible support around 33.40, with resistance around 33.46. However, there is no obvious trend on this chart. For tomorrow, pay close attention to news regarding the U.S. Core PCE Price Index. A weak number could trigger a pullback in the dollar, allowing gold to rally. Also watch for mid-tier U.S. economic data releases and speeches from Fed policymakers, which could give gold buyers some opportunity. To recap, key price levels to watch are support at 32.50 on the daily chart, resistance at 33.50 on the daily chart. Possible short-term support around 33.40, with resistance around 33.46. As for predictions, it's hard to give definitive answers, but here's what seems more likely. A sustained break above 33.50 on the daily chart increases the likelihood of a rally toward 3,500, especially if economic uncertainty continues to drive investors towards safe haven assets. If the dollar continues its relentless recovery, a breakdown below 3,250 becomes more probable, potentially leading to a test of the 3,200 level. Keep an eye out for those important U.S. data releases.